Yo, the kids official sliding on the instrumental. Nordic combos, twist your mental like forbidden.
Peace to the public and power to the people.
What up, world? Forgive us for all the waits. And forgive me in advance. If it seems like I'm taking my time today, it's because I really just want to be present. I missed y'all, we missed y'all. And we missed this space where the vulnerable is powerful. And where the most gangster thing you can do is serve. Welcome to All the Way Live.
Hey man, somebody out there right now is probably going through one of the most difficult things that they're going through. They feel like the world is about to crash in on them. Maybe the pressure of school or the pressure of work is just way, way, way too high. And you really do feel like, wow, I am stuck. Well, look no further, because this is the show over here, man, where we dedicate energy to be able to give you some of that carefully curated content for your cranium to get you pushing through the day, to get you pushing through the week, man. We celebrate successes, we celebrate challenges, we celebrate the lessons that we learned throughout that whole process. Miles, I'm so glad you brought us in so comfortably, because it's been a while and I have so missed our friends and family that tune into the show, and I've been speaking to you, my best friend.
Yeah, this is rejuvenating. You know what I mean? This is an important part of my routine. So glad to be back at it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, listen, we never miss a beat, and this week ain't no different with it, because we're coming back with the same sort of show where we give you that impact, we give you that impact art and everything in between. Just because it's 2023, we ain't gonna break it up in any different way, man. We're gonna continue to keep rocking, making sure we give you something to say, something to make you sound smart around the dinner, especially now that it's finished being Christmas, right? You've been chasing that one person you wanted to throughout the whole holidays. You finally got him. Now you gotta entertain him and spit out some new facts. So we're back here to help give you some facts that you can spit out.
No doubt. You use up all your lines, all your banter. Yo, between November and January, we know you need some new material. And we bring you that. We bring you that from South Africa, which is most definitely in the building. That is where you at, right? I don't be knowing. You be moving around so much. That's where you at? I'm serious.
I mean, mentally and physically, I am in South Africa. I'm in Johannesburg. It feels good to be back into another city, Joburg. What's up? Coming live from Gallery Momo. Check it out. We got great exhibition on display right now, man, supporting Black artists.
Big vibes coming from SA. We also got the UK in the building. Shout out our producer, Hassan, whom we cannot do this thing without. You know what I'm saying?
Can't do without you, buddy.
Big air horns for Hassan. And on this side, humbly, Chicago is in the building. This podcast is recorded on stolen land. This land was cared for by the Potawatomi people, the Council of the Three Fires, our First Nations brothers and sisters, and the violence done to them to remove them from this land is inseparable from the violence that we see in this city today, the violence that we see in this country today, and the violence that we see in this world today. Right? So with that, we lift up love between Black and brown people the world over. We lift up love for First Nations people the world over. We are in solidarity with those who struggle and those who strive for a future that's difficult to imagine, but that will be incredible for our kids. And we look to the history to do that. So without further ado, let's get into the show.
Let's get into this content.
Yeah, I get that, but is we live though? Is we like all the way live though? You heard?
My guy. Man.
Talk to me, brother. Talk to me.
So for all of y'all out there, man, y'all that follow the show, first time listeners, you know what I'm saying? This is usually the part where we dive into impact. This is where we dive into a spotlight of those folks that we see doing incredible work. But before we get into that, man, my brother himself does incredible work, and so I need to check in with you. It's been a minute. We ain't done a show in a couple of weeks, which is rare for us. You know what I'm saying? So before we talk about all the amazing work that's going on out there, I need to hear how you been. How's your 2023 treating you?
Hey man, I'm not even gonna lie. 2023 start off with a bang. Work through the holidays, so I'm definitely running on a bit of fumes. For sure, for sure. But it was all impact driven. So I was able to really dive into a new project in Namibia with the UN where we're looking to empower the informal market by providing e-bike solutions, right? So we bring in the e-bikes towards a platform called Tambula. And on Tambula, what they do is that so one of the largest markets in Africa is the informal market, right? So this would be as you're walking down markets, like the mom and pops that like sell tomatoes and fruits and art on the street. It's like, how do we get those people in order to come onto the e-commerce platform? Part of that solution is in how that product gets delivered. So it was cool, man. Got to give some people some employment opportunities, bring some e-bikes onto the streets of Namibia, help out some folks. A lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of work, but it definitely feels good when you cross a finish project like that. You can stand back and just be like, "Whoo, man, that was pretty cool."
Yo, major cool, bro. What? A young brother working with the UN on the low. You give us facts. You give them to him. You give it to us quick. So I don't know if everybody caught that. My bro is collaborating with the UN to bring people jobs, to uplift small local businesses. Man, shout out to you, brother. That's awesome, incredible work. But how are you though?
Appreciate that.
How is you outside of the portfolio? You know, the plethora of productivity, you know, and productive tasks that you work on. Like, how are you? How are you doing spiritually, mentally, physically?
I mean, honestly, brother, if I'm being transparent and vulnerable with this platform of ours that we share, a lot of the time, right now, I was feeling very exhausted, right? And sometimes you get to a point where you work and then you push yourself even further and you push yourself even further, and you just get to a point where it's just like, man, I am all the way exhausted. Well, I hit that point this weekend, right? And how it was showing itself is that my back started hurting. So my body started talking to me like, yo, you need to calm down. So I decided, let me do something that I don't do nearly enough, but I really appreciate every time I do it, is a digital detox where I just turn off absolutely everything, man. Turn everything off, my phone, my laptop. I don't touch work, no nothing. And I just let my mind relax. And then I'm able to breathe for a second to get back in. So your boy is fresh off of a digital detox, you know what I'm saying? So the energy's back up. We're ready to fight this week. How you feeling on your side?
I feel good, man. I feel, I'm really feeling full and grateful. I spent the last couple of days collaborating with some incredible people in for a conference for the interdisciplinary research leaders, which is a fancy way of saying a really dope collective of people that are involved in research, but also people that are rooted in community, coming together to see how we can find solutions to our literal group of researchers. All of our tasks, which are various, but are united by the idea of undoing structural racism, which is the topic that we talk about often on this podcast. So I won't go too deep into that, but that can be, addressing gaps in wealth between people, gaps in opportunities between people, and creating safe spaces and communities. And so to be working with a whole bunch of, actually, I'm one of the younger people, a bunch of mid-year or mid-career professionals on that type of work, and to be able to soak up game and knowledge really has me feeling, yeah, really grateful. And so, yeah, we can talk a little bit more about that. Maybe we can do a proper spotlight on some of the work that we're doing. Our research project is around crime victim compensation. We're actually trying to make sure that anybody who's injured during the commission of a crime gets the money that's owed to them. But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so grateful for that opportunity in that space. But it's been a lot. We kind of hit the ground running from what were some incredible holidays. I had time to rest and relax, and then I came back January. It was King Day, you know what I mean. So I had to dive right into that, and then from there, this conference. But I'm good. I'm grateful, and I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Hey, man, I need to know someone of your someone of your caliber. Like you step into these meetings. What's it like being around the room with all the minds that are entrusted with solving, poverty and all these big issues? Like what do you guys get together and talk about? You grab your coffee, you show.
I lost your audio right there. I lost your audio after we grabbed the coffee. So after we grabbed the coffee, um, yeah, it's a lot of, some of it is just collective conversations. We're all working on these different research projects again that are rooted in community. So we bring the questions that come up in that work to each other. We talk about how to manage relationships between the incentive structure and the demands of research in a rigorous institution, and versus what community needs are and really listening to community. So we have a lot of back and forth about those two things, about navigating differences of, in terms of like, yeah, I think we all agree that we want to uplift community, but everyone has different ideas of how to get there. And so people who know a lot more than me and who've been doing this work a lot longer than me are going back and forth on some of those tough questions that we have internally in order to strengthen the work and provide solutions that are sustainable and that can be replicated by people that can pick up the work, like me, that next generation. So I sit back and listen. It's a lot of listening is what it is. Yo, I don't know if our producer heard that, but my man went straight Invader Zim on us, yo. I heard it. I heard some very alien. Yeah, my guy. My guy. I'm glad we got that recorded. We need to save that as a setting because it will be useful like around Halloween and other situations like that. But yo, that sounded nuts. That sounded nuts.
It sounds like my connection is coming in a bit mad
Woo,
over
but
the
now you
sound
crispy
system.
though.
So
Now you
how am I
crispy.
coming in now?
Now you good. You sounding good now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, so that's how that felt, man. And it was humbling. It's humbling, and it's not one of those situations where dope stuff is happening and academic minds are meeting and it's actually a room full of like white folks. Nah, it's like it's a lot of people of color, a lot of black women, dope, incredible black women that I look up to, in that space. That room is mentorful for me, you know. So that's fire. Can you hear me, bro? Oh, Zoe, because we can't. Oh, okay.
I
He
think we're
can't
having
hear me.
some technical difficulties on my side, but I do know we have a video to jump into, some
Yeah.
MLK King Day video. Let's jump into it.
Live. What have you found is effective to teach children, but also adults, about how we can actually live like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did?
Yeah, so one of his quotes that we have on our t-shirt and our banner and goes out on our flyers and everywhere is everyone can be great because everyone can serve. And so we're providing space for people to realize their greatness. And I think if people continue to do that and have the spirit of service in mind, not only today, but every day, the world will be a better place because we're always thinking of others. We're always holding ourselves accountable on how we can make the spaces better and what can we do within our power to do that. So today is just a great reminder, kind of like a reset of we need to be in the spirit of service always.
Yes, and it's so compelling to me that Dr. King's
Yes, yes, indeed. So what you just saw, was my homegirl Saida. Shout out to Saida. Shout out to Organic Oneness, who is one of a group of incredible organizers and collaborators and co-conspirators that came together to make King Day this year really special. King Day's at the top of the year. You just coming out of the holidays, so a lot of times it gets overlooked, and it's hard to plan for. But we were able to, this incredible team, shout out our producer for pulling up the picture of the planning team, the organizing team. This incredible team was able to bring over 500, and that's conservative. It might have been 6, but we're gonna say 500 people out, to actually King High School on the south side of Chicago, where we had an opening program. We heard from some of our schools' drum bands. We heard from some of our schools' choirs, our south side schools, lifting them up, letting the kids shine in that way. We heard some words from Dr. King, a recording of a couple of his speeches. And then we allowed people to break out and go to different schools, right? So we started out at King. We went to Revis Elementary. We went to Donahue. We went to a whole bunch of schools out here on the South Side, and we painted murals. We cleaned classrooms. We organized libraries. Some of the murals are actually super, super fire. So, yeah, it was an incredible, like I said, 500 people came out just to support the community and be a part of that. And so helping to organize that and to see that come together and to see that desire in people to want to serve was amazing. And the schools came back and the kids came back to some incredible projects in their schools.
That's incredible, man. That's absolutely incredible. And what I like about it, if you look at that picture, is you can see my brother Miles Xavier hiding in the background. You know, the curator of the whole thing, just in the cut. And what I enjoy about this whole path of impact with you is that you really do walk it how you talk it. You know, a lot of people talk about being a change in their city, and a lot of people talk about wanting to better their city. But you've literally taken that mindset and turned it into like your profession, you know? And I think it really does flip the whole notion of what you can be on its head, because we're all told like these are the paths you have to take to make an impact into the city. Or you could be the Miles Xaviers of the world, where you just go, what is a problem that I'm looking at right now? Who do I need to speak to be able to see how I can help? And how do I do that professionally? So being able to see you put together this King Day of Service Bronzeville 2023, brother, is absolutely, from my side, one of those things that I definitely look up to. And that's not the only celebration of King that we saw happening, right? There was a statue of Martin Luther King that was also created to be able to celebrate the great leader. I think we have a picture of this statue that we'll go ahead and pull up. Now, Miles is the organizer of ML King Day, and after such a successful event, can you explain to us what the hell is this?
Come on, man. I think this is the best angle of it. Shout out to Hassan for finding like, yes, this is what it's supposed to. This is what they were going for. It doesn't look like this from every angle, but it's supposed to be an embrace, right? And embracing the ideas of King, embracing each other, you know, as brethren, as people. But yeah, sometimes the artist has a vision, you know what I'm saying, and knows how to construct that vision, but you know, an artist only has an artist mind. An artist might not always see it how people gonna see it. The people saw this and they had some jokes for him. Some of them might have been warranted, no doubt. What do you see when you see this? When you look at this?
Like you said, this is the absolute best angle of this shot, and this is great because from the other side, this thing looks nuts, almost literally. You know. I think there needs to be a committee for statues, man. I think a lot of people have to have a touch point for statues because we've seen statues go left often. Go ahead and Google search what the other side of this image looks like if you want, but they didn't have to do Dr. King like that. What happened to a good old face bust? What happened to that?
It's played out. We see in monuments getting removed, mad busts getting removed across the country. You know what I'm saying? So it's over for the busts. Yo, I was in NOLA recently, right? New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? And dang. It's hard to even talk over this picture. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna cap.
What's going on here? What are they showing us here? Miles, are you willing to take this show to the next level by explaining what this looks like?
I'll bear witness to you. Give it a shot. You got it.
And that's how you know we will not do what it takes to be able to take this thing to the next level. We will not describe this thing the way it is. Look, I just think, look, if I die, right, and someone wants to put a statue of me, please just honor me with your hands. And if this is what they presented, object.
Nah. But I think this is a lesson to all of us, right? This is one of those things where, hey, look, that other shot, that other angle, that was beautiful. That was a good-looking statue, right? We're all good-looking statues, I think, and we have to be forgiving of the angles within ourselves that don't look how we want them to look. I think that is the lesson. We need to embrace that about ourselves.
Hey, and if you want to be able to let us know what this looks like in the comment section, let us know. Yo, Miles Xavier, before we get out of the section, man, you got to tell me what are some impact things you're excited about doing this year. Yeah, man, and what are you looking forward to doing?
We making major moves on the food security side, right? So already back wheels on the ground, tapped in with the pantry, doing some deliveries on Mondays. If you know anybody on the South Side Chicagoland area who could use a box of groceries, hit us up because we can make that happen. And that's an incredible thing to be able to say. So I'm excited to continue that, to grow that, to tap back in with them boys over at the athletic center, so that we can get the juices, get the smoothie nights going for the kids. That'll be amazing. And yeah, me personally, I'm looking to develop closer relationships with folks that are doing street outreach work. Tap deeper into South Shore, but still hold down for Bronzeville. So I'll just keep moving around the South Side, man. But yeah, I'm really excited for this summer, continuing work with the Chicago Race Riots of 1919 project, maybe even getting some of our art installed in the ground where it will be forever to remind people of our history. And so that's what excites me about this year, man. What about you?
Nice. Definitely, I'm very excited to keep pushing the Mandula Foundation with you. There is the food pantry element, like we said. We're definitely going to keep pushing and keep giving people more food where we can get it to them. And then also try and give more kids laptops, keeping it simple. I think this year is not so much about how much we can do, but the value of every little thing that we do, and see how we can pull people together to help out in that process. So like Miles Xavier said, if you know anybody in Chicago who wants to be able to even be a hand and say, hey man, I got time on Mondays, let me come help pick up a meal and then drop it off somewhere, please do let us know. Hit us up. Let us know. We're going to do the same thing in Johannesburg. We're getting our food pantry going on this week. So if you're somebody in Joburg and you want to be able to help out by being able to pick up some food and deliver it, definitely let us know, man. It will be, an absolute pleasure to be able to work with y'all. Miles, so much content. The world is on fire. They look to us to solve it. Producer, take us there. I gotta put my glasses on for this one because it gets serious right now. Scamming is on an all-time high, y'all.
Yo, no lie.
Scamming all the way up. All the way scamming all the way to the bank. I love the titles that we give on this show. So
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, scamming is so much so at an all-time high that even the scammers is getting scammed, even the hackers is getting hacked. Yo, it's wild out here. It's wild out
what do
here.
you mean? What do you mean?
Yo, scammers down bad. Listen, 3 days ago, the Justice Department in the United States of America covertly infiltrated a ransomware gang, the group known as Hive. Two on the nose for a hacker squad, Hive. Y'all let us know in the comments.
But they do definitely stick it on the nose because you have people like Anonymous. It's like, all right, bro, I get it.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, Hive is responsible for extorting $100 million from over 1,500 victims around the world. In the U.S., officials are calling this a 21st century cyber stakeout. Right, they turned the tables on Hive by hacking the hackers, thwarting more than $130 million in ransomware payments. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. And now they flexing. Because as our producer has just pulled up, this was the Hive website. And they got every bureau badge on this mug saying it's shut down. They flexing. Sway. Now what?
I think I see the BMF logo in one of these things. It's clearly they got everybody. They got everybody on it. It's actually quite interesting because there's been a lot of popularity of websites of people scamming the scammers. It's like scam hunters on YouTube. So for those people who are like me and like to go down these rabbit holes of entertainment, that's definitely one of them. Where you have
the scammers scamming effectively, and so not everyone is like above getting scammed is what we're learning about this whole thing. Because Usain Bolt, recently we heard the same thing, that he invested his cash into a investment company, and then yaga, $12 million gone like that. Left him with about 59 cents.
The irony of gone like that.
We shouldn't be laughing though. This is so serious, because if this would have happened to me, like Kendrick said, I wonder how Rihanna felt when she looked at them numbers, because she had about $13 million that was taken from her. So it's like there's so much scamming on. You have FTX, you have Bernie Madoffs, you have all these things that are coming out. It actually does make it quite scary.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's like, I guess maybe I'm cynical to think that somebody like Usain Bolt, they gonna make sure my man gets his money, right? We're not gonna leave Usain Bolt out here having been scammed. But yo, somebody's auntie who's like 72 and at the crib just typing things into the computer, clicking yes on all the little pop-ups, she ain't getting her money back. She ain't getting her money back. Clearly, if Hive made over $100 million scamming,
100 million.
So this is a lucrative business, and as a businessman, as a business mogul, as our resident entrepreneur, how much can you tell us about scams without incriminating yourself? What do you know about this? I know you know something.
One thing I know for a fact about scams, and might be the only unequivocal truth I have about scams, is that for a fact, I'm not involved in any. And so that's what I know for a fact about scams, is that I'm not involved in any of them. But a lot of the times what you do see is that people do prey on emotion, naivety. As someone that's been scammed a few times myself, one of the things for sure to be able to look out for when it comes to getting scammed is right now. Anything that like requires people to like, you have to make a payment now, that's probably a scam. And if it comes with a long, complicated story of my family, my whatever, and it seems urgent, listen, not everything urgent is a scam, but almost every scam is urgent, So It's one of those things to be able to keep a lookout for as well. And also, if it's too good to be true, nigga probably is.
Yeah, but they're getting tricky these days, man. They're getting tricky. Look, it's really interesting because a lot of these scams they take place online, right? And it's interesting just me knowing like how my parents move with technology and then how we move. But there's a generation that's younger than us that moves even more fluidly, even more knowledgeably through the pathways of technology and social media. So like there are scammers in that generation too. So I'm knowing that even though I feel like I'm pretty safe how I use the computer, like there's going to be a time coming very soon where we're the old generation that doesn't really know how we're getting got with this stuff, right? Like my mom don't know to look for 2T's in Marriott. You know what I'm saying? If she got an email exclusive deal, the extra dash between the HTTP, she don't know how to spot the fake URL. You know what I'm saying? The fake email address. And I feel like I'm scared because I feel like the time is coming soon where we're not gonna know how to move like that.
Well, the time is now. So rest assured that 100% your information is out there for the buying. And a lot of the times what they do with the dark web is that almost all of our information, we've heard back in the day when they were saying Samsung got scammed, when they were scamming TVs and then they were robbing banks from information. They would break into these systems and not even steal anything other than just the information. And a lot of the things that we utilize that we don't think about that have required us to put a login into it have been taken. A lot of our card payment stuff. So when Samsung was scammed, when LG was scammed, almost every large company now has been scammed just for the information. So they have our stuff already. That's already gone. You, all of us, whoever's watching, your stuff is on the internet. It's just a matter of time until they get to it. The sophistication in these scams, though, the corporate scams that some of these guys have been doing, is email phishing, right? So, and this was something Hush Puppy was very known for, right? A Hush Puppy, which was this larger than life scammer in Dubai. He was of Nigerian descent, ironically. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to that. All to say that's what the dude was, and so they would hunt emails that were moving across, pick those emails up, change the banking details into them, and then reinsert them into the email line, and they stake out these companies for months at a time. So I think personal security, cybersecurity, and corporate cybersecurity, Zway said to himself, are extremely important.
Man. Yep, and it's in the so thank you for bringing in those. That's why I love talking to you about these topics, because you bring in these high level examples. My examples was all trash of the scams. I have all the examples of the scams that no longer work. I have a whole, like, it's like I have a list of, like, when you got the codes, like the discount codes for the websites that you can no longer use. I have a list of scams like that. I know how they were scamming on
Literal
eBay.
snake oil salesmen.
I know how they was doing scams on eBay. They was doing Amazon refund scams. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot out there. That's the net is tightening. You know what I mean? And it's not, you can't get that money. I think the scam this day and age is slowly falling, man. Sorry to
I don't know.
TJ3K.
I don't know if it's slowly falling or if it's just changing its nature, because there's a cool documentary on Vice where they have where they show how these cash guys on Snapchat get mules to be able to withdraw cash from them. So because the sale of drugs has just boomed through the roof, and because the sale of illicit substances has just gone through, drugs are making so much money, and they need to get washed in new ways. So there's actually a cool documentary on Vice where on Snapchat they'll post big pictures of cash. They'll get these young dudes, be like, "Hey yo, we're gonna push $50,000 through your account. 5,000 of that is yours. Easy transaction. You get to live the life." And a lot of dudes are starting to do this, not knowing that some of the dangers in that is that and this is in the U.S., more than $10,000 is transacted onto your account onto your account on a single transaction payment, you're already on a watch list. $10,000 is what it takes. You're already on a watch list.
Yep.
And then if there is no actual, like, real, if it's on a regular payment schedule, or the account seems to be one of foreign nature, or whatever the case is, they watching you. And it's only a matter of time, bro.
Yep, they got me with that one back in the day. But it's funny to think about, because you're absolutely right? Like, the scamming is only going to get more complicated and more deeper ingrained into, like, the cyber space. I was saying, like, these it's the protections they're trying to put in place for like local scamming and scamming at a low level is getting pretty sophisticated. And the way that they're recruiting people that have been doing scams and caught doing scams to build the software to stand up to the type of scamming software, it's a very intricate and interesting world, man, for sure.
Hey, man, there's a whole lot of these scam examples all around, and we just advise you to just be aware. Just be aware. The scam that I hate the most is the Forex scam. That Forex scam is the one that infuriates me the most. Oh,
yeah, I think I see one that might be more infuriating.
This one is worse. Romance scammer. Yo, so there's a whole city in, like, Ghana where they target older women in the US through Tinder and all these dating social profiles, specifically women between their 40s and 50s and 60s, and they love the scams, dude. They just boyfriend these women and run them for their cash.
Damn, you messed up my last point. Because my last point, you already said it. But one way to protect yourself is to be on the internet. If it looks too good to be true, it probably is. But I want to say that after you just said all these shorties looking for love, man, there's love out there for you somewhere. You will find somebody that really loves you. But if his name is Roberto and his hair is flowing in the wind and he got an 8-pack, you might want to double check. You know what I'm saying? You might want to do your Googles, do your proper research. A lot of what I found just digging into the scamming topic is that it's a lot of people just trying to come up based around greed. A lot of how they get you, they might send you an email saying, "Oh yeah, remember when you bought that? What's it called? We got a refund for you. Go on ahead and sign in. Give us your bank details. We got this refund." And now you're sitting there at the computer, like, well, I don't remember buying that. I don't remember being a part of this class action lawsuit. But if they got a check for me, let me go ahead and see what they talking about. Nah,
No such thing as a free check.
resist. But that doesn't apply to the dating scams. Be careful, but there's love out there for you, boo. Don't worry.
Hey, listen, there might be love out there for you. We're not sure, but one thing we know for a fact that we do have for you is more of this content, man. Going into current news and quick hits.
Man, it's a vibe to be back in here doing this with you, bro. It feels good. It feels right. And it's necessary, right? And part of the reason why it's necessary and what doesn't feel good to be back is to be back here saying rest in peace to another brother. So rest in peace to Tyree Nichols. For those who don't know, this was a brother that was pulled out the car for very dubious reasons and assaulted by several police officers and who died 3 days later after this. The police officers have been charged with various charges related to the assault. They've been fired from the police force, which is quicker movement than we typically see in stories and in cases like this. That's the type of movement that we want to see, no matter who the officers are, what the officers look like, who the person that is beaten by them or assaulted by them looks like. So glad to see that there's movement on that. We'll see what the follow through for justice looks like. But I don't even really want to do too much or spend too much time or like, and that sucks to say. That sucks to say, but we've had this conversation many times. We've done a lot of deep dives on that. Check out the channel for police brutality. We have multiple videos, multiple hours of conversations, multiple hours of saying different names and different rest in pieces. So today we're not even going to surround the conversation around that. It's around Tyree. It's peace for Tyree. Tyree was a skateboarder. There was a dope video of Tyree skateboarding online. I don't know if we can find that, but y'all should go look that up because that's the person that I see and I want to see when I look at this story. So rest in peace.
Hey, man. Thank you for being so eloquent with that. It is a bit. We talk about news fatigue all the time. You know, you hear this happen all the time. A part of me also wonders is the dubious nature in which Black Lives Matter was organized part of the way we're seeing this being responded to in a bit more of a quieter manner, or maybe we're just tired. Personally, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the video. I don't want to watch the video. I'm really, really exhausted when it comes to this sort of news, man. So definitely peaceful a life that's lost. Let's not forget all the lives that are currently going through it. You know, there's wars all over Africa. There's a whole host of terrible things that are happening, shootings and whatever the case is. So just be safe out there, man. That reason right there is what makes it so difficult for me to want to live in the U.S. When I'm in that country, it is hard not to think about, yo, these cops might want to kill me. It doesn't matter what color, race they are, and it does something to my anxiety every time I'm in that country.
Yo, I hear you, brother. I hear you, man. I don't disagree at all. Shout out to Hassan, man, pulling up this video of Tyree skateboarding. The brother has skills, man. The brother has skills. Clearly loved what he was doing. So this is what it is. This is the person. This is the humanity. This is what's important in all of this. So, man, shout out Hassan. Appreciate that, bro. But I feel
Hey,
you,
man.
Zoe. I feel you, man. There's a tension here. There's a buzz here. There's a underlying sense that violence could pop off here at any time, and that's hard to. We live through it every day, you know, especially as Black folks, especially as folks that live in impoverished communities and move around in these communities. Love, man. That's what's to be lifted up in all of this. So
I like that. Let's lighten up the mood a little bit, man. It's our first day back. I'm not trying to be able to be too sad, man. This is still a celebration of life in this podcast. That's still what we're about. So we're gonna go into a recent addition to the show where we get quick hit questions either coming from the people in the comment section asking us anything, and then we're going to respond, and also some questions that we have yet to see that have been put together by our producer, man. Rest in peace, Tyre Nichols. Let's lighten up the mood. Let's see what's happening with these quick hit topics.
Oh,
Snitch hunt.
I love that. Yo, how do you see the rap landscape changing following the current snitch hunt? Sway.
Man, I think we're a forgetful nation. I don't think snitching is an offense that people are gonna hold too seriously, man. You know, this is hip hop forgets. Hip hop doesn't care. The streets is a myth.
Man. Well, I think I don't think the streets is a myth. The streets is just much smaller than people think it is. You know what I'm saying? The streets is yeah, man. It's a very there's people that are gonna not all right, bet. There are people that are not gonna mess with my man and listen to his music no more. Or anybody that's found out to be a part of snitching and in that realm. But you're right. I think in terms of is it possible for somebody to continue to have a career? No doubt, man. No doubt. I think rap is getting away from. So, all right, not to belabor this point, but like street culture is changing, right? Street culture isn't organized by the same rules and codes that we think of when we think of like older hip hop, right? So hip hop is obviously going to follow and match that, and it doesn't hold the same accountability. Because there's less structure. We're not this OGs are not really a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like the respect level between OGs and kids out in the street isn't really there anymore. So we're going to continue to see there's no accountability for snitching. There's less accountability for types of violence that don't make sense and aren't lucrative, right? I shouldn't say don't make sense, but that aren't lucrative and aren't part of building up cash and money, right? So I think there's going to be there's a more no rules, right? Or everybody creates their own rules. Everybody within their own clique and their own neighborhood creates their own rules type of mentality in the street. That's going to translate into hip hop. So I think somebody who is caught up in snitching, it depends on how strong is their momentum in the music and in the game, and do the people around them that they're making music with still collaborate with them after that. It's not a no-go no more.
Yeah, most people aren't living what they rap about. That's been hip hop from time. Great, man. Let's see. Next question. Have you kept any hobbies that you picked up from the pandemic? Ooh.
Spinning these records, boy. Spinning these records. I first picked up just trying to organize my music library, think through music in a way that allows me to spin records. I need to upgrade my controller to get to a point where I can get this money for spinning these records. But yeah, that's definitely something that I want to continue to build steam and put energy into. What about you?
Growing plants, man. That was a big part of my meditation process over over
Cue
COVID.
reggae music.
You know, I grew plants with integrity. It's integrity,
Scamming.
not.
I
That
hope
was
you'll
a big
be
one that I picked up.
scamming too.
That's the big one that I put up. Plantery, having a green thumb, you know. So that's something I try and take with me no matter where I go.
And this thing right here, boy, this thing grew out of the pandemic for sure. You know what I'm
True,
saying? It grew out of the
true.
pandemic. Yo, shout out on Wami. Have we heard the new Trippie Red album? That can be a quick hit. I haven't, but I've heard good things. I've heard good things about that Trippie Red album. What you
I've heard
nodding?
some
You heard it?
singles off of the Trippie Red album. Trippie Red is very interesting to me because he carries, I think, the punk rock rapper wave almost better than anybody else can, and has had like evolution with that sound. You see Uzi pick it up and drop it at times. You see Playboy Cardi take it a bit too extreme on the hard rock side. So I think like Trippie has had a good balance. I really dig that song that Trippie has with Offset. It recently dropped. I forget the name of it. Offset and Moneybagg Yo.
It's
But we
interesting
can
that you
definitely
said-
review that for next week.
Yeah, we can definitely put that up as a potential review. Shit, what was I gonna say? Oh, Trippy. Yeah, it's interesting that you say he's kind of carrying that punk rock way forward. Have you heard the new that Kenny Mason where he drops like snippets of like 6 or 7 tracks? He does it in a very different way, but like, man, he does that very well too. So I love the growth in hip hop and even the divisions within subgenres. You know what I'm saying? Square genres. You know, dope.
It all comes from Wayne. It all comes
Yeah.
from Wayne. I think
Everyone's
once Wayne
Wayne's
picked up
babies.
that guitar for that Prom Queen, it's been that through and through.
No doubt. And speaking of the South, favorite cameo in Atlanta.
Favorite cameo. Oof, that's a difficult one. I really do enjoy the thoughtful dude on the bus.
Oh, you better bite this sandwich.
You better bite the sandwich, man.
But that's not a. Is that a real? Who is that guy? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Does that count as a cameo? Does that count as a cameo? Cameo is typically when.
I guess so.
Yeah. The let's see. I like the dude, the D'Angelo, when he goes down. Yeah, the whole D'Angelo trip is really funny. What else? Cameos in Atlanta. I like Soulja Boys. I like Soulja Boy telling him that he gotta get a safe farm. That one is hilarious.
Yeah, they play off that well. And the Black Justin Bieber.
No doubt.
Hey man, I think we still got more of the show to get into. I don't know if we have any more quick hits from our producer. Nice.
Yo, thank you, Hassan. Thank you, my guy. I've been meaning to bring this up with my brother over there.
Because you got to backtrack, Miles.
No, I don't have to backtrack. When was the last time you listened to that album?
I ran back to it again. So Miles' favorite album of 2022 that he declared the weekend it dropped was Dave East, Story of David.
Book of David.
You
ran that back?
I have ran it back. And it's good, dude. And it's really, really good. But I don't think it tops Pusha T's. I don't think it drops Pusha T's album.
I respect that opinion, but you laughed me out of the room when I said that. I think that album is I respect that with Pusha T. That's a good Pusha T album, but I think that Dave East deserves respect. I think you can put it up next to whatever you want. That's a very good album.
It's a very good album, but you would be one of the few people who call it album of the year. I can guarantee you that.
I'm okay with that. I don't.
Hey, man.
It's not about what anybody else's album of the year is, but you laughed when I said it was mine. You laughed like it's not good. It's very good.
No, I didn't laugh that it wasn't good. I laughed that it was the weekend that it dropped. We had listened to that album for 2 days, and it was the best album of the year.
So we a month later now. Was that crazy?
Yes, is what I'm telling you.
Why, if it's good, why is that crazy? If it's very good, why is that crazy?
Because you're jumping over Dirk's album, you're jumping over Baby's album, you're jumping over a lot of music that dropped over that same time, you know? And I think it's really, really good, but I don't know if it cracks top 5 for me.
1 month later, I like that album better than Baby's album. And I like Baby's album. And a month later, I like that album better than Dirk's album. Or they might be even, but I think it's in the conversation for sure.
And West Side Gun's last album too. You got to put that out there.
It's cool, but I like Dave's. I don't feel like there's mad albums where I'm like, nah, these were much better than Book of David. Thank you, Hassan.
Miles is still stubborn.
I'm glad we run that back. The album is still very good. You just said that. The album is still very good. A month later.
I like that. That was a great question. I think we'll record review to get into.
Okay. Wakanda Forever. I'm actually now. I said that. I just said that as a joke, but now it is kind of crazy that we're reviewing this and didn't review Wakanda Forever. We're gonna have to rectify that real soon. But this is the Avatar: Way of Water review. Avatar 2, 13 years later. Were you still hooked?
This movie has one goal. This movie has a single goal, and the goal of that movie is for you to look at it and be like, "Wow, that's crazy graphics." And I think at each point that this movie was being put together, the question, "How much cooler can we make it look?" was the most important question on that day, and then the storyline was kind of weaved in around it, you know. So the story is very simple, which I like. James Cameron keeps it very simple. What's happening? Boy falls in love with whale type thing. Where? In the forest, running from the ops. Very, very basic storyline, you know. So it's able to maintain a lot of visual um things just because the story doesn't have to try too hard. So from that perspective, it was cool. But like, I'm not gonna lie, man. I got into that cinema. I hit recline on that thing, and I fell asleep.
What's funny is that might be the best way to watch this movie. It's just like in a big
It's
theater,
3 hours.
but yeah, it's 3.5 hours. That half is a lot, bro. That 3.5 is a lot. But like, other than watching it full IMAX, like this is, bro. What you described, how cool can we show you these graphics? My screensaver has the same goal. You know what I mean? Like this is the most expensive screensaver ever created. I like a simple story. Like simple stories are great, but this was insultingly simple. Like this was just, and not even just simple, but dragging out the simple. You know what I mean? And I don't want to even hate on this movie because watching it, I was like, wow, for a little while. But then I was like, all right, you got to give me a little bit more. Like boy meets whale. Like the dialogue between the boy and the whale, especially because the whale can't really talk, is horrible, yo. And I'm sitting here like, I'm why I'm a grown man. I do not need to be watching this. Boy, talk to this whale. It could have been cut. There's not necessary for the script. We understand they had a relationship. You know what I imagine? I'm sorry to go on a rant, but I just gotta get this one more point out. You know what I imagine?
Get off your chest.
You know what I imagine when I watch this movie? I imagine James Cameron, right? Chest out. You know what I'm saying? He got on a little suit, you know what I'm saying? Shirt open, you know, hamburger meat hanging out. He got a white glove in his hand. He's in the editor's room, right? And there's a whole bunch of editors sitting around him. And they're going, James, the scene where he's talking to the whale, you know, it's 13 minutes long. Can we cut that? And he smacks that editor with the glove. Doesn't say anything. Turns to the rest of the room. Anyone else? You know, another female editor slowly raises her hand. they they're diving in the water. They're dying for a long time. The girl's playing with sparkles. Can we speed up the sparkle sequence so she looks like she really wants to save her parents? And James Cameron walks over with that glove, and then I wake up. Right? That's the image I have every time I watch this movie.
I was gonna say, don't put James Cameron's slapping women over the face to make this movie happy. We don't know if that's factual or not, Miles Xavier. But what we do know.
But you ain't object to the dude getting slapped. The dude got glove slapped, and that was fine. It's a double standard. It's a double standard. But nah.
I mean,
the editors needed to stand up for themselves. Every editor in that room needed to stand up for themselves. Y'all got to cut more.
I'm hoping for an extended cut that's shorter.
Yeah.
Give this to me in an hour and a half.
Word. Somebody will do it. Somebody will do it on YouTube. Cut out all the offensive
Believe
parts.
it.
Why did the whales have tribal tattoos? That's messed up.
Let's really get into it, right? Who are the whales supposed to be?
Nah, son. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Whoever anybody's supposed to be in that movie is offensive. So you can't watch the movie from that perspective.
I mean, there is a white boy in dreadlocks off rip.
Yo, my boy Hassan is crazy, yo. Yes. This speaks for itself. This speaks for itself.
There's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on. I don't know if it's enough to make me want to go back. I'm not gonna lie. I think I might watch it on a plane, fresh off of Zan.
Yo, yeah, you need something to get you through this movie. It has to be something. Coffee. You got to eat your popcorn slow. You need something to get you through this movie. You're not here for parts 3 and 4. You know.
Nah, I think I get it.
I mean, I don't know. I'll watch. I hope that they take just as long with the next movie as it takes me to get a Fire TV in the crib, and then I'll let that run in the background all day so that I can appreciate my new TV. That's a great way to watch this film. Although I will say that my girl Zoe Saldana, she had the best scenes in the movie. Her action scenes, they were fire. Her with that bow and arrow, sheesh.
Yeah, I'll watch Zoe Saldana do anything in whatever color, man.
And Disney knows that. That's why they put her in green. They put her in blue. They say, go get that bag.
Hey, man, score-wise, what are we giving this movie? Because I think it's impressive. It's impressive, dude. It's impressive. No doubt. It's like, think about a chocolate statue, right? It's
Yo, that's great.
It's great. It's big. But, like, how edible is that chocolate? And you really can't take it home and digest all of it. That's a bit unhealthy. So I'll admire it from where I see it.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I want to give the first 30 minutes of the movie an 8. And then I want to give the next 3 hours of the movie a 3. So I think that shakes out to about like a 5. I'll give it a 5.
Highest grossing movie ever. 5 out of 10 from the All the Way Live boys. Step your stuff up, James Cameron.
Book of David, 11 out of 10. Facts.
Hey, listen. These people could have been anywhere, but we know.
We know y'all chose to be here with us, to rock with us, to return to this thing with us. I think this is where we're supposed to be, right? It's 2023. They might have been wondering, is they going to come back? Is they going to do it? Got to keep this thing going, keep this thing pushing, keep this thing moving in a direction that includes more community. We want y'all to like, we want y'all to comment, we want y'all to subscribe, we want y'all to eat something delicious. We want you to hug somebody you love, because this is a celebration of celebrating. This is a celebration of life. This is All the Way Live. Like that, we gone.
Yeah, I get that.